Good morning and welcome to the Hill Gardens. My name is Jason. I'm one of the co-owners here at the Hill Gardens, and I want to talk to you today about tomato seedling care as part of this week's plant chat. So, if you look at your tomatoes and you see a little discoloration on your leaf, you can see right here, there's a little bit of discoloration. Okay, this is most likely from touching the bulbs. So we moved them into a lower shelf down here. So you see we have more height than what we did up here. That's not a very hard thing to fix. You just take your leaf, pinch it off. This is your main stem right here. If you follow it up and it continues, it goes on to this leg here at the fork. You can see how it comes up, goes over this way. So you do not want to pinch this one off no matter what, okay? Some of our seedlings have a support in them when we transplanted them. And we try not to leave them in more than a week or two. Okay, this one here is not really supporting much, but it is still kind of a little on the floppy side. So what we're going to do is, this is just a bamboo skewer I broke in half. We're going to put it on this side, push it down in. It'll stay there for probably another week, and then we'll take it out. Sometimes your sticks, if you leave them in too long, let me show you this one here. This is a sign of damping off right here. Okay, the seedling doesn't have a whole lot of strength. This is a sun gold. This is a sun gold, okay? This one should be almost the same size as this one. And it's not doing very well. It's very sickly. And I know how hard it is to take and get rid of a seedling. But if you look on the stick, when I pull it out, it's got a little bit of growth on there. That is from, these were overwatered. And the stick held onto the moisture. You see how very wet it is. Okay. So, sadly, we have to say goodbye to this one. Alright. But some of them are doing really well. This one here, still a little floppy. But I'm going to put a stake in for this one. I'm going to put it in the Y here, bring it up just enough to support it for probably another week. If this one doesn't get stronger and bigger, that one's probably going to have to go too. Same with this one here, should be much larger. It's not. We do have some that have grown pretty well, as you can see. Really nice stalks on them. These here are the beefsteaks. Some of these may be going to the wayside. I always overplant what we need, then prick them out into individual parts. We started with 3 seeds per cell here. Okay, very little space to grow in. Out of 200 square inches of tray, we get 6 of these in there. So there's, about 30 square inches here, a little more. And then we prick them out into individual pots, so we can plant them deeper and they can put out more roots. All of these seedlings are going to be down into the soil when they get transplanted. In 4 weeks, we transplant the week of, June 2nd, because we have had a frost as late as June 1st before. Okay, so we will plant this one when it goes out, if it's still the same size, up to here. So this, we don't want the leaves touching the soil, so we're going to do it just till it probably about here, and all these little hairs along here that you can see right there, those will put out roots, so we'll get a nice big tall strong plant. Now sometimes I have put big healthy ones out and they didn't grow very large. Sometimes I put one out like this and it's been the biggest in the garden, so it depends on what it's going to get for light and fertilizer and if it gets pruned and properly treated, they'll grow huge. We have had tomato plants as tall as 12 feet before. They went all the way up an 8-foot trellis and then came back down another 4 feet. That was the first year that we had bees, which that was 4 years ago. So I'm going to take this and put it back. You can also see sometimes that you may get a yellow leaf. And I actually just pruned another tray. And if you look at the tips of this leaf here, okay, you can see a little bit of yellowing. That comes from either a nutrient deficiency, well, there's actually 5 reasons. 2 of them aren't going to be an issue now, so I'm not going to mention them. But indoors, that's either overwatering, underwatering, or a nutrient deficiency. We are using the Alaska Fish Food, and that's a 511, I believe, yeah, 511 fertilizer, and we're doing it at 1/3 strength right now. This next time we fertilize, we'll take it up to half strength, which is half a tablespoon instead of 1 teaspoon. So it'll be a teaspoon and a half. And that will go into a gallon water jug, like this here. Okay, we just put it in there, fill the water to here, mix it up, and then after that it will go to a full strength once they go outside. We will fertilize them once they go in the beds. The beds are going to have a little bit of compost thrown on top, but the fish food just gives it that extra jump to make sure that we don't get any transplant shock. So if you have yellow leaves, pull them off once you take care of the overwatering, underwatering, or nutrient deficiency. I'm going to tell you right now, this is from overwatering. I left too much water in the bottom of the tray. It had deep ridges, so I figured it would wick it away, but I can feel by the weight of the tomatoes that they are too heavy. So giving them 2, 3, 4 days, they'll bounce back. They'll dry out some. I'll let them almost completely dry out before I fertilize. Next time, you can overfeed or overwater. You can love your plants to death. But again, if you see that little white fur on your tomato stakes or whatever, take it out, let them dry out. It'll help kill off anything that's growing. There's another one here. So, see, this tray is very heavy. There's no extra water in the bottom. The bottom of the tray is dry. And when I push on the soil, excuse me, no water comes up. One other option one other thing that you can have a problem with is, excuse me, allergies. Is you see how big this one is? Well, this was overshadowing this one here. They were side by side. So it wasn't getting all the light it needed. So I'm going to move this one all the way back, and I'll move the tall ones into the center with the bigger ones on the outer edge, or I'll move all the bigger ones to the front, the smaller ones to the back, so they get the light they need and they'll grow big and strong. I do like to prune my tomatoes as we go. So this one here, I'm just going to take this leaf off. Some more nutrients can go into the stalk, into the top, and we can get a nice hardy. You can see here again, those hairs a little bit bigger. This is going to get planted to about here once it goes out, so these are going to come off anyways. So I really want to be able to have these nice and strong, so when they go out we can get, you know, a huge course of tomatoes this year. My goal, we got, I think, 20 gallons last year, and my goal this year is 100. This one here, you can see it's a little on the light side. We're getting a little bit of fur around this, so take that out. Doesn't really need it stand up right now. These leaves aren't doing any good, so we're going to pinch them off. You can use a pair of snips. My snips are out in the vehicle though, because we were working in the garden yesterday getting things ready. So we'll take those off. You do want to stay away from the main lead, which is this one here. So if you follow it, it comes up and goes all the way to a tip like this. This is our main stem. You do not want to cut this. Once you pinch right here and you cut that main stem, that's it. It won't grow any bigger. So stay away from your main stem as much as possible. Get ones that go out sideways. Okay, we got a little bit of leaf roll right here. And we have a little bit of yellowing on this one. So I'm just going to take this one off. The leaf roll is not a big deal. Like I said, that one's going to come off anyways once it goes out. So get rid of that. Put it here. We have one that's getting overshadowed. Some of these had touched the lights. This one right now I'm just going to wrap around the stick. I'm just using this one here. I'm just going to pinch it in the middle. It's not going to produce anything more on this stem, but I want it to help hold it up. And let's move some of these around here. There we go. Taller ones in the front, smaller ones in the back. Let's turn these super tall ones so they're not overshadowing the others. And that's it. Our seedlings should bounce back in about a week now from anything they've had. And don't be upset when you make a mistake. Mistakes happen. I had one year that I had 16 or 20 trays in this room, and we lost every single tray because I was running the garden center at the big box store, and I was working 110 hours every 2 weeks, and I lost track of my seedlings. I didn't have a day off for like 3 weeks, and tended to forget to water them. And under these lights, it gets really hot in here during the day now because our daytime temperatures are up around 60. It can easily get 80 degrees in here, and we really don't want it to get that hot because everything will dry out. Here's another case of overwatering. There's a lot of water left in the bottom of this tray. So I'm going to end up just taking it, and I've got 2 varieties of tomatoes in here, 9 of each. These half trays will hold 9. So we're going to take and shake the extra just stuck soil on here. Some people will tell you that you have to sanitize these in bleach water. I'm going to tell you right now, you don't have to. I've never done it. It's never been a problem. So we're going to look, no yellowing here. It's got a big stalk on it, but it's still a little on the floppy side. I have taken tomatoes that were flopped right over and planted them nice and deep so they stood up tall. And they have produced really, really super well because of that little trick of getting more roots out of your tomatoes. Okay, that's 5, 6. This one is pulled away from the stake, doesn't need it anymore. And could I just leave these in full trays? Yeah, I could. Some of the full trays I have right here. Now see, this is one that dried up and didn't make it. Okay, that happens. So I have 8 of my white cherries. I love white cherry tomatoes. So we're just going to clean those out. I'm going to leave the stakes in there for a few more days. Nothing needs to be pruned there. Slide it back. Get another half tray if I have one here. Hold it up, make sure there's no holes in it. And this little one here is a Roma tomato. Okay, we're going to pinch off the wrinkled one, get rid of it, shake off the water, put it in the tray. So I'm just going to set this small tray in this deep one, or this full length, just so we can get some balance. This one here, I'm going to pinch off this little wrinkled leaf right here. Do you have to tie these to the bamboo? It would help, but it's not required. I find that when they're this small around, that tying them up can cause damage to the stem, and I really don't want to do that. So I just let them go under their own weight. Here is one that needs to get pinched off. I'm going to take this stake out. It's getting a little furry. Yeah, you can love your tomatoes to death, and sometimes I do. Here's one that sadly didn't make it. So that's 3 today we found that didn't fare well. Okay, this one here, a little bit of leaf damage, burned. We're going to pinch it off. I'm going to leave, even though this one has a little bit of yellowing on it, most of the leaves on that branch are good. So I'm going to keep those. And I'm going to give it another week or so and let it get a little bit stronger. Move these so the taller ones are on their own. Probably 3 across the back. Smaller ones up front so they don't get overshadowed. Turn the ones that are bigger, that are leaning towards the back a little bit, so these smaller ones can get the nutrients they need, or the sun they need. And back here. Now, you'll notice that our lights are white. They are regular fluorescent tubes in regular light fixtures. People will tell you that you need to have purple or red and blue. You don't. I'm not going for fruit. I'm not going for flowers indoors. If that's what you want to do, more power to you. However, I am going for stem growth, leaf growth, so I can get strong plants. And these are the 6-packs. This one here has to actually be potted up this week. Maybe I can get my wife to help me tomorrow. You can see how floppy these are. Okay, there's really not enough soil in these cells, and we're going to take and pull these out, get all the excess soil off them, and then replant them, and they'll get nice and strong. So you could plant those out when it's time. I just would like to see them get thicker like these here. So I've got some broccoli here that's doing pretty good. That's what's in the next side of the tray. This one grew up nice and strong, so it doesn't need its stake, but this one's still a little on the weak side. And the rest of these are looking fair, so we're just going to leave those where they are. These little tiny leaves down here are called codlin leaves or seed leaves. I just refer to them as seed leaves. They they don't produce a whole lot once your plants get this big, so I tend to prune those off. Like one this size. Okay, you don't need these. These are going yellow. Now, if these are going yellow, don't sweat it. They'll go yellow anyways. These are the beefsteaks. They'll go yellow and fall off on their own. I just don't like them sitting on top of my soil because it can cause a fungus or mold if they sit there and get wet. They'll break down, and I just don't like them there. So I try to prune them off as much as I can. So my blush tomatoes will pot up this week into pots that size. I have enough potting soil left over. So there we go. It's the same thing with peppers. So These trays are feeling a little light. So, yeah, this are habaneros. They're not nutrient deficient. You know, we do have some in here that are really on the small side, but when they go outside, like these two down here, right here, and right here, you can split those off when you put them outside, and they will grow. I tend to use the smaller seedlings for, why do we have tomato? We planted so many seeds in here because they were old seeds for these habaneros. They were like 3 years old. That some of them are just now spreading, and they've been in these pots for 8 weeks or more. Leave those in. And these look nice and full. Now that I do know one gardener who will come along in this very top piece right here. You see right here. He will pinch that off, and they will bush out. I'm probably not going to pot these until they go out in the ground, which is in, again, another 4 weeks. Tomatoes and peppers go out at the same time. So, but they're nice, they're full, they're healthy, they're green. I had one time that I had some veining in them this season because I hadn't fertilized yet. Peppers I don't fertilize till they're about 6 weeks old. So, get this in here the right way. I'm going to leave that like it is. And this one's going to need to be watered probably another day or two. And now this one's heavy. There is a possibility that this one still has water left in the bottom. These are all 6-packs. These are bell peppers. If you don't have plant stakes and you're planting a whole tray of something like bell peppers, you can just put a piece of painter's tape on the end, comes right off. These are really hefty. And bottom's dry, so I guess they're fine. Now, some people will tell you that when you plant peppers deeper, they don't put out extra roots, but I'm just going to ask you to look right here. If you can see that white, those are roots coming off that stem. So you can plant them probably an inch deeper. Or you can see better here. See that right here? Those are roots. Some plants you can plant just a little bit deeper, about a ½ inch, an inch. And they'll put down roots. Take a look at this one here. Now this one here, some of the smaller ones are flopped over. I do need to stake up one of these pepper plants here. And like I said, I'll push these down a little bit more. This little tiny seedling here isn't doing any good, so we'll take that one out. This is a seed leaf that fell off, sitting on the soil. Take that off. With our Fresnos, what I did, when I had little seedlings that weren't that strong like this, I went through and I made it so you only had one plant per cell in our Fresnos. Because even though we use Fresnos in most of our hot sauces, we don't grow a lot of them here. Our #1 production thing is for our freezer, and doing that, we want mostly bell peppers because we use a lot of bell peppers in almost every dish. So let me take this one and just spin around here. Put it back up. Some of you can see that there's the seed mat there, this little black strip. It's not plugged in. I just didn't want to move it, to be honest. Another hefty tray. These are the Fresnos here. You can see I cut those down to 1 cell. And these are really, really hefty. where I cut these down to one cell, they are growing so tall and strong. Look at this. Okay. You have one leaf right here that's got a little bit of yellowing on it. Pinch that one off. Get rid of it. That one looks good. That one looks good. This is the type of pattern you should be looking for in your leaves. A 4-2, 4-2, 4-2. It's what I typically find. 2 in the center, 4 or 5 on the outside. When you look down on it, it should almost look like a 5-pointed star. And that's what I'm seeing. I don't see any burnt leaves. I saw only one yellow leaf in this 6-pack. I like growing with peppers in 6-packs because, as a matter of fact, I'm going to take a nice strong one here and just lightly tug on it to see if I can pull it out without damaging it, so I can show you the root structure. A little squeeze. No, she doesn't want to come out, so I'm not going to force it. Ours do not have holes in the bottom. I went cheap when I bought these. They were 144 of them at Amazon. Yeah, these are really moist. If I pull on them too hard, they may come out of the soil. And I don't want that. So, if they were drier, I'd give them a harder tug. But, now, we do not top water or fertilize our plants because you end up with disease and rot, and I don't want that. We pour the water in the bottom of the tray until it's about a ½ inch to an inch deep, depending on how dry they are. And it's called bottom watering, and it's the best way to water your seedlings. Let's get the last tray of peppers from over here. Okay, hardy weight. Starting to dry out a little bit, which is good. You want them to. You want the cell to only be about half wet. Typically the bottom half. It's going to force your roots to go down bottom, and you can see they're starting to come out here. Okay, it's going to make your roots fight for food. Reach down, get it. Again, some of these are a little on the loose side, a little floppy. When I plant them out, I just plant them an inch deeper. Those will go in containers, so I can kind of have a little bit more control over them. These are bell peppers. I really want these to do well. Drop some soil here. So, but they're a nice hefty weight. They're good till probably fertilize them Monday. They'll be good till Monday again. So, I hope you enjoyed your tour with us. I do want to show you one last thing. The onions that, if you look back in the plant chat, we cut our seedlings about this tall, and people said that we were going to hurt them. Let me show you this. This is the thickest I have ever had our onion seedlings before. Yeah, they look really hurt, don't they? They are flopping over a little bit, but look at these leaves, okay? When I pull these cells out of here, if I do it carefully, they should go fine. We are going to do our pelleted seed outside. Probably next week, if I can get a sunny day on either Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll go out and rake the garden, take you with me, and we'll plant some pelleted seed straight in. Pelleted seed, they say, is only good for the first year. I've never used it past the 1 year, so I don't know. But we'll find out this year, won't we? Some of our onion or carrot seeds are from last year, so we'll see how good they grow. They grew really well last year, like the pelleted, because you can actually tell where you're holding it and where it's going. So I thank you for joining us on today's plant chat, taking a look at our seedlings, taking care of any problems, talking about watering, lighting. It was really great. So I thank you for your time, You have a great day. And remember, keep your food spicy, your thumb green, and I'll talk to you later. Have a great day.